Welcome to Friday's edition of Cup of Joe with Joe. How's everybody doing out there in Facebook land? So you guys know the drill. Like, share, comment. Please comment, folks. The input, the back and forth, that's really what keeps me going. In the meantime, I am running for Congress, 1st Congressional District. Go ahead. You see my little fun site there scrolling along the bottom. It's also in the header, the intro for the video on at least 7 of the 12 different channels I'm broadcasting this on right now. So what do you guys want to talk about? Go ahead, throw the comments up. Let me know what's important to you, because that's what this is about. This is the Ask Me Anything, folks. In the meantime, let's go ahead and popular news right now. I won't mention his name because his name doesn't deserve to be mentioned. However, he has come down with COVID, him and his wife. Apologies, folks. I hope you get better soon. But Jo Jorgensen's still the better presidential candidate. Yeah, it's part of the thing. One of the things that we're going to run into problems with is name recognition. Every time we run an event like this, every election season, and this is part of what got him elected 4 years ago, it was the name recognition. You know, it was the Pied Piper thing. You know, brought him in, put his name out, put his name out, put his name out, put his name out so often that name recognition got him through the primary. As for the other 13 GOP candidates in 2016 that swore God had chosen them, yeah, you guys didn't help the situation any. Every last one of you, I hope God's not a nice warm place waiting for you somewhere. You were chosen for something, chosen for the end of days. Sorry, but he gave that job to somebody else. You just helped it along. Anyway, but name recognition, it's a big thing. So if we're doing a COVID watch for the next 14 days, trying to pay attention to what's going on with him, we're negating everything that's going on with all the other candidates. And let's admit it, there are a lot of other really good candidates out there besides the 2 that they keep trying to shove down our throat. There's at least 4 others that have access to 270 electoral college points. Now, of course, Jo Jorgensen, she's my favorite. I'm rooting for 110%. She has access to all 538 of them. All 538 of them. Now, the 270 to win. You got some others. The Green Socialist candidate. Yes, that's a dual party ticket. Greens and Socialists are actually running the same candidate in Howie Hawkins. Howie Hawkins currently has something like about 381. Party of Socialization and Liberation. Those of you who have been paying attention to the other third parties. Gloria LaRiva and her running mate, don't know who it is since she switched Peltier out for health reasons. A Party of Socialization. Yeah, the Pumpkin Spice Latte Party, the PSL. Pumpkin, yeah. No, there's not a Pumpkin Spice Latte Party. It is the Party of Socialization and Liberation, the PSL. Gloria LaRiva. She's another one of those left candidates. She's got access to more than 270. And Brian Carroll of the Solidarity Party also has access to 270. So literally, there are 4 third-party candidates right now that have access to enough electoral college points to actually win the presidency if their name was mentioned enough. You know, and if you ask me, all 4 of them, any 4 of them, are better than what we got going up, you know, than what's being spoon-fed us. So by all means, look them up. I know a lot of people, Joe ain't your cup of tea. I like her. I can work with her. I think there's an awful lot of things going on with her and Spike right now that are really awesome. They're doing good things for the Libertarian Party. They're doing good things for America. You know, Jo Jorgensen, Jo Jorgensen, Jo Jorgensen. I can't say that enough. Her name needs to be the name on your lips every time you go into social media. Forget the other 2. Forget it. However, you do want to go ahead and look at the others because let's admit it, Jo Jorgensen is the only libertarian candidate. All the other candidates are left. Okay, they are left. Let's admit that. We have two candidates right now, the Constitution Party, Ron something or other, and the other guy who shall not be named. They're right. Yep, they're on the right. You know, still strong statist influence, but we only got two on the right. And we got like 7 of them running over on the left. So much for united left. I mean, literally, you got 7 different left candidates that are running right now. Now, admittedly, they're all different kinds of left because you got the Green left, you got the Socialist Party left, you got Party of Socialization Liberation left, you got the Bread and Roses Party is, over on the left. There's a Peace Party that's over on the left. Transhumanism is even over on the left. For those of you who are interested in transhumanism, I think your libertarian transhumanists are more likely to achieve humanism before your left transhumanists, but still got good things going. It's a real interesting platform. Look it up sometime. It could be fun. In the meantime, like I said, you got like 7 presidential candidates that are running on the left. You got 2 on the right. There is only one Liberty candidate running right now. Only one. Yeah, it may not be true. I think there's an independent or 2 that are claiming liberty. But the Libertarian Party, with its libertarian platform, there's only one Liberty candidate with name recognition that you will find in most of the platforms when you go looking to find your presidential candidate, like Jo Jorgensen. Now, Spike brought up an interesting point on Twitter the other day. Okay. One is there are an awful lot of people that are scared that the healthcare system is going to be the first thing on the chopping block soon as libertarians take office. Okay. Most libertarians who are running for office are pragmatic libertarians. They know we cannot simply cut the social safety net overnight and expect the world to continue, moving on along the way it does. Larry Sharpe raised the issue several times along with Judge Gray. The idea that we can do away with social welfare on day one, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. We simply can't cut that and expect society to survive in any meaningful way. The society and culture that we've become accustomed to. Now, we got a lot of things we can go in and we can do to fix what's broken in these, but the idea is we're pragmatic. We can't cut these programs and expect the United States to be able to survive because simply how much of the population of the United States is high risk right now, especially with regards to current poverty and a number of other issues. Cancer survivors. This one's an interesting one. Thank you, Ana, because I myself am a cancer survivor. I had a radical nephrectomy that was removal of an entire kidney in order to get to the source of what was stage 4. No, it was stage 1, category 4 renal cell carcinoma. Okay, now what that means is stage 1 was it was still early. Category 4 was it's one of the most aggressive forms of kidney cancer. Renal, that's kidney, and carcinoma is, of course, cancer. Okay, so I am a cancer survivor. Now, what will the libertarian healthcare platform look like once we start going in and actually fixing what's wrong with the way healthcare is run in the United States right now? Well, one of the things we have right now is the American Medical Association actually limits the number of physicians in that can go through medical school at any given time. And pretty much it's the same thing with nurses too. You know, what certifications, what requirements, and how many people can actually go through. So that ends up with a shortage of supply. So it's not that, you know, we don't want to make sure, you know, we want to work to make sure that the largest number of options and potential results are out there for everybody. So when we go in and we take a look at how that works is, one, we strip the limits on the number of healthcare providers across the United States. Two, we strip the regulations in regards to how physicians are allowed to approach the art of healing. Okay, right now we actually have a significant number of problems with that all across the United States, in that hospitals, you know, and a lot of the hospitals actually have nonprofit oversight. They're associated with churches. So like St. Luke's is an Episcopal church. St. Al's, I can't remember exactly what they are. But every one of them have their religious restrictions that they place on what the doctors could do within the hospitals because of their religious associations. Now, we talk an awful lot about organizations like Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood provides healthcare clinics. It does. However, Planned Parenthood also works as a lobbying organization, works as an education organization, and notionally it claims a nonprofit status. Okay. Libertarians are the only ones that are interested in actually going in and defunding it. And not because we actually want to see Planned Parenthood go away, but because we don't see why government's responsible for handling the funding of it. Now, what that means is you as a volunteer, you as somebody who now has an extra $200 in their pocket every month because we've managed to reduce taxes on middle income families, you now have a little disposable income that you can pitch to Planned Parenthood in order to keep the clinics up and running in your community. You know, that way you get to do the good deeds rather than expecting the United States government to do them for you. But when it comes to those clinics, okay, the Planned Parenthood clinics and the sliding scale fees that they do through there help with the early diagnosis of uterine cancer, you know, various other issues like that that normally won't be touched if you go in through one of the normal hospitals or in through the ER, because the ER doesn't want to deal with it. You know, they don't deal with those things for a number of different reasons. But these small nonprofit clinics that if we go in, and that's one of the other things that we deal with right now, the Affordable Care Act, when it passed, it actually created an insurance requirement for an awful lot of doctors. Prior to the passage of the ACA, you'd actually have doctors that would volunteer with nonprofit organizations and go out and do street clinics, you know, in order to help homeless people or help indigent people, help people that just couldn't make, you know, the cut in order to qualify for one of the clinics or to be able to pay for an ER visit or a hospital visit. You know, before the Affordable Care Act, all of these doctors, you know, would take about 10 hours a month and commit it to working in one of these free clinics, you know, providing that instant health care. You know, you'd have a line a quarter mile long, you know, 100 people, and the doctors would just set up, triage, treat, and do what they could to help. And this also included dental issues as well. You know, the number of root canals were required because people weren't brushing their teeth because they were homeless and they didn't have regular access, you know, all that. The passage of the ACA did away with that. So that's one of those things. We can go in and we can rebuild the Affordable Care Act or repeal it, replace it, so that the doctors can once again do this nonprofit donations, you know, donate their labor, And this does count as a nonprofit donation when you volunteer with a nonprofit organization. However, working for a nonprofit organization shouldn't cost you more than you would make if you were working in your regular clinic. Boom. Affordable Care Act did that to our physicians that like to volunteer. Made it more expensive to volunteer than they would have earned working in their clinic. Okay, so libertarian healthcare plan. We need to restructure it. We do, 100%, but we are not going to do away with it. And matter of fact, some of the things that we want to do, because of the way that we don't plan on going in and immediately eliminating the social programs that have been created by Medicaid and Medicare, the money that we currently have going into the Medicare and Medicaid funds would actually go a lot further once we restructure the healthcare industry in such a way that it isn't owned and wholly operated by the insurance companies. So the immediate act, as soon as we open up and we start affecting the pricing and the costs of healthcare in the United States, honestly, I think the libertarian plan right now is the fastest way to Medicaid for all that's even been presented at this point. And literally, because what we're doing is we are eliminating the automatic payment. And we're saying, no, you're not going to file through Medicaid for all. You're not going to file through an insurance plan. What you're going to do is you're going to put your price for the treatment on the front door. And then you're going to say for a colonoscopy, it's going to cost $75. It's going to cost $120, whatever it happens to be. You got to put the price on the front door, and you got to compete with the guy just down the street who's also got a sign up that says, yeah, I probably should have picked something other than a colostectomy. But regardless, what we want to do is we want to reduce the prices. That way the clinics, they're actually competing with each other. Once the prices are up there and once we're competing with each other, we can literally say, okay, you can go in for routine checkup. And once you get your routine checkup and your physician tells you what's wrong with you, we'll go ahead and allocate you the resources, and you can go find the physician, the specialist, who offers you the best price with, the best recommendations. So if you know that you've gone in for your checkup, and the initial checkup, which has a base fee of $100, comes back and says that you have polyps or you have something irregular. Then the next thing is you call up your Medicaid program and you say, hey, I'm going in for a specialist referral and for such and such. Medicaid says, okay, that normally runs somewhere between $400 and $600 for that particular kind of specialist involvement. So here's your $500. Go forth and find your specialist that takes care of your problem for you. Okay, specialist goes in, does the diagnosis, says, yep, okay, we're going to need to do surgery. And you call up Medicaid and says, yep, specialist says I need surgery. I even went and got a second opinion. Both of them said I need surgery. Medicaid says, okay, well, that kind of surgery normally runs $4,000. And here's $4,500. Go find yourself a surgeon. Now you got 7 surgeons specialize in that kind of surgery. Every one of them has their prices listed. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Surgeon 1, 2, 3, 4. You even do your own research. This one's got 4 stars. This one's got 1. I know, if you had a surgeon that only had 1 star, I think I'd be looking for someone else. But the thing is right now, Nobody knows how much those surgeries cost. Not until after the fact. It's not like they need to know, not like you need to know. Well, your insurance company doesn't even really need to know. It's just another part of the risk pool. Nobody's taking a look at surgeon's time, nurse's time, anesthesiologist's time. Nobody's taking a look at, it's people can just like hang up. Okay, that's roughly it. Make it happen. A lot of those prices are deliberately overinflated right now, specifically because of insurance clauses and the fact the healthcare industry can get away with it. The libertarian plan is do away with all of that hocus pocus. We're focusing on transparency in the healthcare industry. And we definitely plan on making sure that transparency happens in the healthcare industry long before we start stripping the programs. That is, if we ever do. We may very well find that once we take care of a lot of our other issues, like bring our troops home, yes, y'all know that's a big one for me. Once we take care of mass incarceration, and we have more people involved in the economy, bringing the economy up, more entrepreneurs involved in that. Once we take care of our federal bills for force projection in, 140 of, I guess it's 150 of 190 countries around the world. Reminds me of a joke I'm going to have to come back to here in a little bit. Once we take care of that force projection of 150 190 countries around the world, once we stop paying the bill for mass incarceration for nonviolent crimes, once you stop paying taxes in order to cover costs for things that don't serve you, don't serve me. Honestly, I don't think they even serve the nation. Once you stop paying taxes on those, you'll see a lot more disposable income. And a lot of people that previously couldn't afford health care because of all of the hidden costs, the lack of transparency, well, a lot of you can start affording health care again. A lot of you can start affording regular checkups again. Most of us make enough these days. We really do. Yeah. Clouds went away. That means I gotta start getting creative about my scenery backdrop here. Give me a moment, folks. Let's see if I can find that right combination of shade. There we go. Not perfect, but definitely a little bit better. But yeah. No, we're not going to do away with healthcare on day one, folks. We're not. Medicaid, Medicare, they're going to be around for a while. The healthcare industry is what we're going after. The insurance industry is what we're going after. We're going after corporate protection rackets. We're going to go after those long before we start taking a look at, what else we can do in order to minimize the federal cost, of a number of those other programs. There are so many other things that are getting in our way right now that, honestly, Spike's mentioned it. Joe Jorgensen mentioned it. I've mentioned it. I know Larry Sharp's talked about variations of it from time, as well as Judge Gray, a number of other libertarians as well. Healthcare industry is in a bad way right now. And repealing Medicare, repealing Medicaid isn't the fix that everybody thinks the libertarians want to apply. We have other things that we need to do long before we start taking a look at that. And simply too many people out there in America right now that need those resources in their current form. And honestly, by going in and reforming, creating, and changing the healthcare business models, we'll be getting a lot closer to a true universal healthcare system than anything currently being promised by either the Republicans or the Democrats. Simply because we're going to make it affordable again. Okay, we're not talking affordable health care, because we all know what kind of lie that is. Okay, talking about restructured healthcare industry. Talking about transparency in healthcare. Transparency in healthcare is what's going to drive prices down. We're not going to lie and say we're going to make it affordable for you, because we've heard that lie too often, right? What we're going to do is we're going to create transparency in the healthcare industry, and that's going to drive prices down. What you do with that information is up to you. Okay, so enough about the libertarian look at healthcare platform. What else you guys got? Come on, talk to me. We got some good things out there? Closing in on 6 o'clock, folks. Me cancer survivors. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. Hey, talk about socialized medicine. Joe Jorgensen always likes to compare socialized medicine to VA care for everybody. Okay. Well, we all know that the VA in an awful lot of locations hasn't treated veterans very good. You know, Boise, the regional center here in Boise. It's good. It's awesome, as a matter of fact. Stellar, one of the few 4-star organizations, 4-star Veterans Affairs hospitals, in the United States. Salt Lake City, also real good regional center down there as well. And so up here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm co-located with 2 really awesome VA hospitals. However, we know that isn't normal. We know that all across the United States, there are VA hospitals where literally there are VA directors that are skimming money so hard that the VAs can barely provide services. Okay, that isn't the way we want to set up the healthcare system. That isn't the way we want to set up some sort of Medicaid for all program. The reason why is because we're just paying random administrators to take care of hospitals in order to process people through. There's no vested interest in performance. And if we don't do the proper oversight, if we're not doing the proper auditing, those people with no vested interest in doing the job they're being paid to do will continue to skim, and you'll see more corruption in the system rather than less. We already got enough fraud, waste, and abuse in the healthcare industry. Okay. So, transparency. First, foremost, always. Once we fix that situation, so literally, free the markets. I'm talking a real free the market, not this Keynesian fake stuff that we've been dealing with for the past 50, 60 years. But a real free the market where literally the transparency is there. You walk into a hospital and they got a list of services that they'll provide and exactly how much those services are going to cost you. Yeah, that's where we need to go with that. So as far as libertarian healthcare platform goes, yeah, stop stressing over it, folks. We're not going to strip, your Medicaid for all anytime soon. We're definitely going to make it significantly less expensive for the federal government to fund it. How? Because when you need a treatment, we give you the money to go find your physician. We don't hand you a list of physicians and say, meh, we'll pay the bill, whatever it is. And that way you find a good physician, you might even be able to keep some of that money. Just maybe. How's that sound? Anyway, so enough about the libertarian healthcare plan. I know, it's 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and talk one of the other things, as long as we're talking social safety nets. A negative income tax. Okay. Now, when Yang was running in the primaries, one of the things he talked a lot about was universal basic income. Okay, now the universal basic income, the weird problem with that was they were going to reach out and literally take money away from everybody just so they could redistribute it back. Okay, literally, they had to take money from people to put it in a central pool in order to redistribute the money back out. And that's a lot of bureaucracy. That's a lot of overhead. They literally have to reorganize, restructures. Knowing the federal government, what they do is they create an entirely new entity completely apart from the Internal Revenue Service in order to do this universal basic income program on a national level. Thing is it still involved taking $1,000 away from everybody just so they could give the $1,000 back. Not something I consider efficient. Now, some of the things that you talk about, Martin Friedman. Yeah, now there's an awful lot of people who consider him a libertarian thinker, but Friedman was one of the early pragmatists. Okay, he understood the government was going to do what government was going to do, but the idea is if you're going to do it, at least do it the right way. Yeah, we know you're going to do the wrong thing. If you're going to do the wrong thing, at least do the wrong thing the right way. Okay, social safety nets. Martin Friedman. Some of the other ones, you got certain other ones like Mises, you consider Friedman to be a socialist because he's willing to consider these pragmatic approaches rather than just killing the social safety nets. Okay. One of Martin Friedman's looks was being pragmatic. We know where we want to go, and we have a path, and we can make the path a gentle path. We don't have to make it hard. We can make it a nice, easy, gentle path that everybody can follow, that everybody can walk down and get to. Now, one of the things that has been talked about is a negative income tax. Not a universal basic income. No libertarian supports universal basic income. But if we were to go in and completely restructure it and have what we'd call a negative income tax, what the negative income tax would be Department of Labor and the human resource organizations for all of the agencies, all of the companies across the United States. Okay. They would pay anybody who made below a certain amount a negative income tax so that they made the minimum amount. Okay, so let's go ahead, pick an arbitrary number. $24,000 a year. Okay, if everybody in the United States was making a minimum of $24,000 a year, it's $2,000 a month. And everybody who is working, let's see, $10 an hour. $10 an hour is $20,000 a year. So that falls short just $4,000. And $4,000, that'd be about $333 extra dollars that would go into somebody's check every month, paid by their employer, and their employer would be reimbursed, either quarterly or annually, depending on how we actually set it up, for that $333 they paid to bring them up to that $24K a year. Now that's the social safety net that they provided. Everybody's guaranteed a minimum income of $24,000 a year, but we aren't taking from everybody just to give. They're working, they're earning their part. Rather than $1,000 a month, that's $333 a month that they're getting. Above and beyond, their working income. So the negative income tax is what we're looking at as that intermediary between trying to bring everybody up to a consistent standard of living to minimize the effects of poverty across the United States, especially the way we currently have our social safety nets set up. The other beautiful thing about that is the way it's set up, you aren't actually losing income as you start to make more. See, that's one of the funny things about the way we have things set up right now with regards to our welfare programs. Literally, anytime somebody starts earning money, actually earning their own money, they lose more benefits than they gained in the money they started earning. It's a poverty threshold. Literally, we create this thing that is people are on the way out of the poverty door. We got a threshold so high they're all tripping over it and falling back into poverty. If somebody starts making an extra $2 an hour more, they lose somewhere in the neighborhood of about $7 an hour in welfare benefits. And if we take that and we turn around and reverse it, it's a negative income tax. No matter how much more money they're making, they aren't losing in benefits. They will still be making the exact same amount of money. Okay, so this whole, no, boss, I don't want you to pay me more, because if you pay me more, I lose all these benefits. It's corporate welfare, folks. The reason why is because we got people who don't actually want to be paid more, because if they start making more, they lose the benefits that the state's paying, which means these corporations still continue to get cheap labor. So we really need to go in and we really need to do an overhaul of our welfare system. And rather than going with the universal basic income like Yang was talking about, let's try something a little bit different. Negative income tax. Look into it, folks. Maybe worth your time. Anyway, so it's my deal. I've been running at the mouth for about 40 minutes here. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you guys for joining. All of you, Ina, a joy, as always. Remember, like, love, share, comment. Tell your friends about me. Congressional District 1, State of Idaho. We can make it happen. We can bring back liberty to America. Friends, family, community. Bring it all together. We'll make liberty happen, folks. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.